This episode of Distraction is sponsored by Landmark College, offering bachelor's and associate programs, short-term and summer programs for students who learn differently. Learn more at lcdistraction.org. Landmark College, the college of choice for students who learn differently.
Now looking at the other lifestyle medicine areas, sleep, critical. I'll say it. You need 7-8 hours of sleep, National Sleep Foundation. This is so important for your mood and for your immunity. Research shows people that sleep less than 6 hours are 4 times more likely to catch a cold than those that sleep 7 hours or more. So prioritizing our sleep, getting our stress under control, learning deep breathing techniques, that's critical.
Hello and welcome to Distraction. I'm your host, Dr. Ned Hallowell. Today we have a really special show because we have a really special guest, one of my absolute all-time favorite experts in the world. She is a professor at Harvard Medical School, I guess assistant professor, associate, whatever the heck. She's a big shot at Harvard Medical School. She's a health and wellness coach, a lifestyle medicine specialist, an MD, graduate of Harvard Medical School, but she's not in any way pompous, as you might predict she could be with that pedigree. Instead, she's the most down-to-earth mom, wife, doctor you'll ever meet, and she was kind enough to take time out of her very busy schedule to advise us on how to take care of ourselves in this time of crisis during this pandemic. You know, we don't want to just bathe in bad news. So Beth, Dr. Frates, can give us some advice on how to, as she puts it, stay sane. So welcome, Dr. Frates. I know you as Beth, but to the world, you're Dr. Frates, a lifestyle medicine specialist and all-time amazing woman. Welcome to Distraction.
Oh, goodness, Dr. Ned Hallowell, you always manage to bring a huge smile to my face and also a bit of a chuckle. So you have successfully done that yet again. And I am delighted to be here and part of your podcast in this time of the coronavirus pandemic. I have received multiple phone calls from physician colleagues and clients of all sorts, from CEOs of companies to moms and dads who are working from home and trying to keep sane. So I think a discussion on some specific strategies that we can use and really a mindset that we can meander into will be probably the best use of our time here together, if that sounds agreeable to you.
That sounds perfect. Let her rip. What are the specifics you'd recommend?
Yes, okay, terrific. So as you described, I do focus in on lifestyle medicine, and the 6 pillars that we use are exercise, nutrition, sleep, social connection, stress resiliency, and then substance use elimination or moderation, specifically looking at tobacco and alcohol.
Okay, you want to hit one at a time?
Yeah, why don't we do that together?
Okay.
The one I think is going to lead us into this attitude that's going to allow us to get through these times of uncertainty and truly times of grieving. Some people know individuals that have passed away from the virus, that are very sick with the virus, and many have elderly friends or people who have underlying conditions, and they're very, very worried about these family and friends for fear that they may get the virus and develop life-threatening conditions. So we know that this is a reality. We are in the middle of a pandemic. We know that it has affected us economically. It has affected us in our health care and our own personal health. That's said and done, and that's out of our control, unless, of course, we're physicians and we're in the front line. But we're going to talk now to those that aren't. That is really not in our control. The thing that is in our control is our ability to manage the information that's coming towards us and to adopt an attitude that will allow us to get through these next few weeks, could be months, with a feeling or a sense of calm that will allow us to be creative, productive, and loving of ourselves and loving of others, rather than panicked and panic-stricken and racing around, hoarding all the toilet paper and whatever supplies that people are going to the store to get and can't live without. We need to meander into this mindset of, I can control how I respond to the events. I can control how much information I take in. I can control the source of my information. Mm-hmm. And I can control my own words. I can control my breathing. And that's where I'd like to take us to start with stress resiliency and why our breathing is so important.
Okay.
Our breathing can influence our physiology. It's a fascinating connection. Mm-hmm. With a deep exhalation, we can turn on our parasympathetic or rest and digest system, which will help turn off the other system, which is the sympathetic system, the fight or flight system, which many people are riding in right now and have been for weeks. Now, the problem with this is it increases our cortisol levels. Now, our cortisol levels, when they ride high, they diminish our ability to fight infection because they lower our immune response. They make it more likely for us to get sick. So first of all, I'm going to step into that pillar of stress resiliency to start, because one, it can calm our minds, and two, it's going to be helpful and useful in this period of the pandemic to increase our ability to fight any type of infection that comes our way. Mm-hmm. So I mentioned the deep exhalation. Ned, you're probably familiar with a variety of these techniques for breathing that allow us to enter the parasympathetic response. I will mention a couple, and maybe we can even practice 4-7-8 breathing, for example. But there's box breathing, where we breathe in for, say, a count of 4 or 3, whatever comfortable for you. You breathe in for a count, not seconds, but a count of 4 or 3. You hold it for the very same count of 4 or 3. Then you exhale for the same count of 4 or 3. You hold that at the end of exhalation for the count of 4 or 3, whatever works for you. Then you inhale for that same count. You hold for that count. You exhale for that count. Hold for that count. Inhale for that count. It makes a box of 4 if you're counting to 4, of 3 if you'd prefer to count to 3, whatever number is comfortable for you.
So you inhale and count to 4?
Yeah, I'll do a round with you if you'd like, and then we'll try another very common deep breathing technique that pushes the parasympathetic response, meaning it allows a deep exhalation to turn on our rest and digest mode to get us in calmness. So these two that I'm sharing with you hopefully will work, one of them, and if not, then simply take deep breaths in and deep breaths out, exhaling for longer than you inhale if these two don't work for you. Let's do the box breathing. Let's do it for a count of 3 together, Ned.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
I'll do the counting, and then you try to follow what I'm saying as I'm doing the counting. So ready? We'll begin. Let's inhale for a count of 3, 2, 3. Hold for a count of 3, 2, 3. Exhale for a count of 3, 2, 3. Hold for a count of 3, 2, 3. Exhale for a count of 3, 2, 3. Hold for a count of 3, 2, 3. Inhale for a count of 3, 2, 3. Hold for a count of 3. This will be the last one. 3. Now exhale really hard for a count of 3, 2, 3. How did that work for you, Ned?
Great, but I think you meant to say, at one point you said exhale instead of inhale, but
Sorry about that. So you're inhaling and then exhaling.
Yeah.
Right. You can't exhale and then exhale, so I apologize.
Right, exactly.
So you were paying attention. Terrific.
It was.
Hopefully everyone else listening will also be paying attention and know that it's an alternate inhale, exhale.
Right.
So I was actually counting and not fully doing the exercise. Otherwise, you would be cued as to what you were meant to do. But I'm so glad that we can share this laugh because guess what? Laughter is also really, really important and so good for your physiology. And we are really not laughing quite as much as we used to, understandably.
No.
But when we connect with friends, like I'm connecting with you here, we invite the opportunity for laughter, especially if it's someone with whom we're comfortable and with whom we already have a type of banter that is jovial, and we do laugh already together. I suggest people call somebody that they have this relationship with as well, as focusing in on these deep breathing techniques. So now let's move, if we can, to a different one, and let's see if I do the inhale and exhale correctly.
Okay.
Watch me.
Okay.
Let's be vigilant. We're going to do 4, 7, 8 breathing. You inhale for a count of 4. You hold. You hold for a count of 7, and then you exhale for a count of 8. So you wouldn't inhale and inhale here. You're going to inhale and exhale. Okay. So let's give it a shot. Ready?
Okay. You don't have to do it. You just count, so you can focus on one thing.
Okay, perfect. Ready? Let's inhale for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for a count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now inhale for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a count of 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for a count of 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Now inhale for 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Last one. Make it good. Inhale for 4. 3, 4. Hold for 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. Now exhale hard for 8. Terrific. How did that feel?
Good. Why don't you hold after the exhale?
Yeah, that would be closer to the box breathing. We don't do the holding with the 4, 7, 8 breathing. Simply a different technique. Some people are uncomfortable, interestingly enough. That's why I like to give these 2 different techniques. Some people are uncomfortable holding after an exhale.
They want to immediately inhale.
Yes. And others are actually uncomfortable holding after the inhale. So it really is something to play with, which I love to do with lifestyle medicine. I like to play with these different techniques. I don't like to prescribe one specific thing. I like to give you the overall concept, which is with a deep exhalation, you will be able to turn on your parasympathetic system. So the simplest way about this is you start to feel stressed about numbers that are cropping up or even creeping up, the number of people who are infected in your particular state. You start to feel this anxiety. You start to feel you're going into fight or flight. Well, take a deep breath in and then a really long, hard, deep breath out and make the exhalation longer than the inhalation if you can, and really push the air out.
Now just tell our listeners, what is the parasympathetic system and why is it good to turn that on?
Yeah, so that is the system in our bodies that allows us to rest and digest. So there's 2 different systems, the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system, 2 basic systems in our nervous system. The sympathetic system is in existence. If you think about cavemen, when a lion showed up, we ran from the lion, so that was the flight. If a different predator came and we felt we could win a battle, we might fight that predator. But in both of those instances, we are going to increase our adrenaline. We are going to activate our large muscles, either for running away or for fighting, for actually hitting. And we are certainly not going to be worried about digesting any food at that time, and have no interest in things that, like sex, that we're usually interested in when we're resting, right? Those systems are shut down, not going to work. Meanwhile, our muscular system, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, we're going to have an increase in our heart rate. We're going to really work to fight or to flight. Now, that parasympathetic system allows us to rest and digest. So the other systems, not the musculoskeletal system, not the respiratory system, not the cardiovascular system, they're not going in full-fledged order. We're allowing our gastrointestinal system to be working. Of course, our cardiovascular system, respiratory system are still working, but they're calm, and our heart rate is low, and our respiratory rate is low. And we are able to rest, and we are able to digest our food. So this is actually a useful technique, turning on our parasympathetic system, in any time that we feel anxiety, not just coronavirus anxiety, right?
Right. No, anytime. Yeah, no.
Anytime.
Exactly.
Good for our health.
Okay, we're going to take a break for a moment. On the phone with me now is Dr. Adam Lalor, lead educational specialist and director of the Landmark College Institute for Research in Training at Landmark College, our wonderful sponsor in beautiful, bucolic Putney, Vermont. Thank you so much, Dr. Lalor, for joining us and for sponsoring us. Tell us, please, we're all listening with bated breath. Tell us about the Institute of Research and Training at Landmark.
Certainly. The Landmark College Institute for Research and Training is really the college's outward-facing branch. We do research, as is in the name. We do a wide variety of research on different topics related to learning disabilities, ADHD, and autism. And then we also do training for other colleges, universities, and organizations around the country on topics essentially about how best to serve individuals with learning differences. The final thing we do for training is we offer an online post-baccalaureate certificate program in learning disabilities and neurodiversity with a focus on executive function.
So that would be for professionals to get a certificate from you?
Correct. That's for folks that are in the field. We have a wide variety of different learners in our courses, from folks newly entered the field to folks that have PhDs in special education and have been teaching for 25 plus years. Some really robust, fascinating conversations we get into.
I got an honorary degree from you guys. Does that qualify as a certificate?
It's an honorary degree. That's pretty high up there.
Well, no, you're certainly a world leader, if not the world leader in this, and so this is aimed at educators and therapists, that sort of thing. Correct.
So, we work with a number of counselors, learning specialists, educational therapists.
You say you're doing research. What are a couple of discoveries you've made over the past 5 years?
One of the things that we've been studying is the social presence as it relates to online teaching, and that, given today's climate with everyone teaching online, it's particularly interesting. What we've been examining is the extent to which the social presence of the instructor, and how much does that make a difference in the learning of the student.
And what have you found? How much of a difference does it make?
Interestingly, we found that it doesn't make a tremendous amount of difference. Intuitively, we thought that, the more that you see the instructor, the more you engage one-on-one conversation with the instructor, the better off the student would do. And it's shown not to be the case. Why? I don't know.
Isn't that interesting? Wow, so it's just as good online as in person.
That's what we're seeing.
I can hear a lot of our listeners, including me, grumbling, saying, wait a minute. But if that's the case, then that's very wonderful, because it's a whole lot less expensive and cumbersome to attend online than to schlep all the way up to beautiful Putney, Vermont.
Well, that's not to say that there's not a whole host of other benefits associated with attending in person. We're just talking about specifically the grade in the course.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You put your finger on it. So it's the side benefits of being there in person.
Absolutely. And I mean, being in a community with individuals who have shared experiences and can learn from one another and really develop the non-cognitive skills.
And you can get inspired, in person, where that's hard to do online.
Absolutely.
Who knows? You might meet the love of your life at Landmark's Institute of Research and Training.
Absolutely. I could say, as a staff member, I met my wife, who was another staff member there.
Wow. So you're living proof. So we'll call it the Romantic Landmark Institute of Research and Training.
My boss and wife would both love that.
Well, thank you, Dr. Layler. It's a wonderful resource, truly wonderful resource at Landmark College and your Institute for Research and Training at Landmark College. I'm so honored to have you sponsor this podcast, and truly you are just a phenomenal resource for this country and this world. If you'd like to learn more about the Institute of Research and Training at Landmark College in beautiful downtown Putney, Vermont, or any of their programs, go to lcdistraction.org. That's LC for Landmark College, distraction.org, lcdistraction.org. Dr. Layler, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Dr. Frates, what's the next point?
Now, when we're in a calm state, we can start thinking about the other pillars of lifestyle medicine and how to fit those in. Many people are working from home and they don't have a schedule. I actually recommend trying to create a bit of a schedule with flexibility, but a bit of a schedule such as you wake up, you do some mindfulness, meditation, maybe prayer. I, for one, have online morning prayer from my church down the street. We're not meeting in person, but we can be online. So you may find some online activities like this or meditation, whatever suits you. Then maybe some exercise, because one of the pillars of lifestyle medicine is exercise. And exercise itself, regular routine exercise, helps our bodies function optimally, including our immune system. Now, you can still go out in Massachusetts and take a walk or a jog. You can still be outside, social distancing, of course, but we can still go outside. Those of us in other states may be actually in our homes and relegated to stay at home. So if you are at home, you can find free online classes by Googling that, literally free online classes. Many big gyms are offering free online classes now for the public. You could do your own hula hooping at home. You could do your own jumping rope. You could do your own calisthenics. If you have your routine already in place, I suggest that you do that each day. It reduces stress. A 10-minute walk can reduce your state of anxiety. Just 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yes, 10 minutes. I am sitting on an exercise ball. That is what I use as my office desk. I can roll on this. I can bounce up and down on this. I can be active throughout the day. Reducing your sedentary time is critical. If you're sitting every hour, get up and move around. If you have diabetes, every half hour, get up and move around. Exercise is medicine. It is critical to keep us healthy in this time.
And so sitting on an exercise ball as your office chair, if someone wanted to get one of those, just go to Amazon and get a exercise ball?
Yes, online. Yes, online.
How big should it be?
You can go to the physio ball, the exercise ball websites and put in your height and weight and see if there is a different recommendation. But there is basically an average physio ball for sitting, and that should work for an average person. But as I say, that can't work for everyone. If you have different specifications, you may want to make note and perhaps...
So there's an exercise ball website?
So if you Googled it, you would be able to, if you do exercise ball or physio ball, we use them very commonly in rehab medicine, rehabilitation medicine, physical medicine rehabilitation, and we call it physio ball. But you should be able to find multiple sites for this, and you'll see there generally is one main size.
Good. You know, I used to, when I was... working with a trainer, he'd often have me sit on an exercise ball and then take my legs off the floor.
Yes, I love it.
And it's really good for core and balance.
Exactly, and I just do that throughout the whole day.
Just lift your legs off the floor.
That and bouncing, yeah.
And bouncing, yeah, wow. Somehow the image of you sitting there bouncing on an exercise ball makes me chuckle, Beth.
Well, it does make me chuckle just doing it, so that's terrific, too. So we've done stress resiliency, we've done some exercise, now it's about time for a meal of some kind.
Here, I found this. Let me just give you this. You should choose a 45-centimeter ball if you are between 4 feet 6 inches to 5 feet tall. From 5 feet 5 inches, select a 55-centimeter ball. If you are between 5 feet 6 inches and 6 feet 2 inches, use a 65-centimeter ball. And if your height exceeds 6 feet 2 inches, opt for a 75-centimeter ball. So it goes from 45, 55, 65, 75, depending on your height.
Terrific. Okay, so I learned that today myself. I usually just Google that, but it's good to have that specific handy for those that are listening and are so enthusiastic they want to order one right now.
Yeah.
So once you have that routine down, right, you can think about what you're going to eat. And here's where a plant-predominant diet is certainly going to help us, where we're eating a lot of fruits with our vitamin C, vegetables, green leafy vegetables that have an abundance of nutrients and antioxidants, including vitamin E. And we want to get broccoli, red bell peppers. These are nutrient-rich so that we will get all the antioxidants, the phytonutrients, the vitamins, minerals, specifically vitamin C. Vitamin E, as I said, was in our dark green leafy vegetables, as well as in sunflower seeds. So that's another good one. Almonds are going to have magnesium, which will help keep our energy up. And if we think about what we're going to drink, green tea is terrific for antioxidants with the EGCG. And the more plants we consume, the rainbow of colors, that means you're getting a variety of phytonutrients and antioxidants, which we really need today. Now, we know the vitamin C is in the citrus fruits, and those are tasty, and they're like our sweet. They're like our dessert in a way, and the berries, strawberries, raspberries. People say, hey, I can't get these fresh. That can well be right now. There's nothing wrong with frozen. You can get frozen veggies, you can get frozen fruit, and that is useful and helpful. Then the whole grains, looking at quinoa and brown rice and some staples. Yes, we are in a coronavirus crisis. That does not mean we throw our diet away. We don't want to get into a sugar cycle and start eating a lot of white bread, white pasta, cupcakes, cookies. And I know that this is difficult. A lot of people are stress eaters. If you stick with the fruits and the veggies, the carrots, the celery, and perhaps some hummus, which is chickpea-centric legume, and we're going to get protein from that. If you stick with these types of snacks, then you are going to find that you are satiated, you are satisfied, you are feeling full for longer. The sugar cycle that we get to when we are just eating simple sugars, meaning white, refined bread, pasta, you are hungry, you eat the sugary food, then your pancreas declares an emergency, sends out insulin. It's a terrific fat storage hormone, and then the blood sugar goes down because that's what insulin does. It brings the sugar from the blood into the cells. And then what happens? We have low blood sugar again. So we reach for that sugar snack, that white bread, that potato chip, that cookie, the pasta, the white pasta, and we keep going around and around this cycle, never really feeling full. It's good if we could have some nuts, some sunflower seeds, walnuts, pecans, almonds, and get a little protein as well as the vitamins and minerals that are in these plants. Next, we have protein. Yes, plants do have protein. As I mentioned, beans, seeds, and legumes do. According to Eat Lancet and Dr. Walt Willett here at the Harvard School of Public Health, a little bit of chicken, very small amounts of unprocessed red meat. Processed red meat is linked to cancer, is okay.
Now, what does processed red meat.
Processed, so that's going to be your hot dogs, your bacon, your deli meats. They have a lot of salt and nitrates. They're processed. They're not.
Beth, I just had a BLT for lunch, so that I shouldn't do that, huh?
Well,
stay away from bacon. That's okay. I don't. You can give me the bad news. I can take it.
I'm going to say that bacon is processed meat, so you don't want processed foods. You want the whole food.
Okay,
so,
and my favorite thing in all the world, a hot dog. I got to say goodbye to that too.
It's processed.
Lay it on me, Beth. That's okay.
It's processed, Ned. It's a processed meat.
All right.
You can get nitrate-free hot dogs. It's still processed, though, but it doesn't have the nitrates.
I should be able to live without hot dogs. I can just dream about them.
I think you can. I've lived without them for years. I'm quite happy. No problems. I did used to eat them. I will admit that, but I don't anymore.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that Harvard Healthy Plate. If you recognize half fruits and vegetables, a quarter of the plate is a whole grain, and a quarter of the plate is a healthy protein. So that we want to stick with that kind of a diet throughout this coronavirus pandemic and beyond. But this is a good time to launch into it to increase your immunity. Now, the next things that are on our plate, so to speak, are social connection. Now, this is difficult. We're in the time of social distancing. Now, you and I are talking on the phone. I love talking on the phone with you. There's a lot of energy that can go through the phone. We can do FaceTime. We can do Skype. We can do Zoom. I've had several Zoom meetings already today. There are so many ways to communicate. Texting with your friends. You can DM. You can do social media. You want to have a variety of social connections. I think the closer you can get to in-person, like a live chat, like a FaceTime, like a Zoom, or a phone call, the more connection you truly feel. But a variety is good. Now, focusing too much on social media, we all know about that. That's going to cause problems in a pandemic or not. Now, looking at the other lifestyle medicine areas, sleep. Critical. I'll say it. You need 7-8 hours of sleep. National Sleep Foundation. This is so important for your mood and for your immunity. Research shows people that sleep less than 6 hours are 4 times more likely to catch a cold than those that sleep 7 hours or more. So prioritizing our sleep, getting our stress under control, learning deep breathing techniques, that's critical. Lastly is substance use. Now is a time to consider quitting smoking. I know you're saying it's a very stressful time. It's true, but you are with your family and you are inside, so it is very hard for you not to bring that secondhand smoke into your family. It's really important to think about what we're doing there. In terms of alcohol, American Heart Association, 1 drink for a woman, 2 drinks for a man. Those are the recommendations over a 24-hour period. Excessive drinking can have an impact on our immune system, on our respiratory system, mucosal systems. So we want to try to keep those guidelines intact.
We're about to run out of time. This is so great. Just all done. Go down the list once more really quick.
Sure, of course. So stress resiliency, we're doing deep breathing. For exercise, we're trying to fit it in, trying to get it in throughout our day. If we can do a half hour 5 days a week, we get the guidelines 150 minutes. Nutrition, Harvard Healthy Plate, lots of plants. Then for sleep, 7 to 8 hours. Social connection, as much as you can, keeping your social distance intact. Substance use, we're avoiding tobacco. If we're using alcohol, 1 serving for a woman, 2 for a man, each 24-hour period.
All right, and no hot dogs and no bacon. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, but it's good news because you're telling me how to treat myself better, be healthier, have a strong immune system, and doing things like talking to you is good for me.
That's
but eating a hot dog is not. So it's an easy choice. I'll pick you over hot dogs.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
Listen, we have to do this again, but if you want to, your website is BethFratesMD.com.
Exactly. And then I'm also at Beth Frates MD on Twitter, and I have been actively trying to tweet positivity and healthy lifestyle medicine tips throughout this pandemic.
At Beth Frates, wonderful. Well, you are an angel of positivity. There's no doubt about that. You fly over Boston every day, sprinkling fairy dust on all of us. We're so lucky to have you. You truly are a tremendous gift. Thank you for joining us, and promise you'll do it again sometime.
Certainly. Thank you so much, Dr. Hallowell.
Remember to reach out to us with your questions and show ideas. Our email address is connect@distractionpodcast.com. Connect@distractionpodcast.com. If you liked that wonderful interview with Dr. Beth Frates, truly one of the world's foremost experts on lifestyle medicine, and particularly in this time of stress, wonderful to listen to. If you like that, send us an email to connect@distractionpodcast.com. Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. Our recording engineer and editor is the illustrious, dapper Pat Keogh. I hope he's wearing one of his hats today. And our producer is the amazingly brilliant, creative, and mellifluous Sarah Guertin.